Yep. Happy Tuesday, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Sonora Boys in the building. Left will be along shortly. Brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. Great show today. Here we go. Yep. It's like that this Tuesday, primetime Notre Dame. Did you think it would happen any other way? We were the marquee matchup. Week 1, down in College Station. Primetime announced this morning, 7:30 Eastern Time, as Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish from Marcus Freeman, they invade College Station to take on Mike Elko and the Texas A&M Aggies. And of course, College Game Day is going to be there. I tweeted that out when College Game Day announced we're going to be at College Station. Of course you are, right? Because the irrelevant program, right? According to everybody else, the irrelevant program that Notre Dame is, no reason for them to be the marquee matchup to jump it off. There's no Mike Elko in that program. They haven't done anything. They aren't. So who's the drawing card? Why is College Game Day coming? Why? Is it because of Mike Elko? Is it because of the Aggies and their subpar program thus far the last 10 years? No, it's Notre Dame. Once again, jumping it off in prime time. Like, even though I think the release even mentioned it, I think it was 3:30 Eastern Time that they faced off against Navy, but it was prime time over in Dublin where they were. That's what Notre Dame does, man. Prime time on the road against Ohio State a couple of years ago. This is what we do. We paved the way in this college football thing. And like we said on yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be nuclear when Notre Dame finally wins a championship again. It's going to be nuclear. So I guess you could say the beef is Notre Dame against the rest of college football. That is the beef. Each and every year, we're beefing with the rest of college football. That's right, Scott Fox. They not like us, man. They not like us. The rest of college football, you're not like us. You're not like Notre Dame. You're not. It's okay. It's okay. Great show today. Look, Notre Dame seems to be down to 2 quarterbacks in this 2026 class. I've been telling everybody that's within the listening ear. Like, yo, I don't care who they sign out of this crop of guys on that quarterback board. I don't, man, flip a coin. I have preferences. I know some guys that I talk to and work with have preferences. But at the end of the day, Notre Dame is going to end up with a fantastic face to the 2026 class. And could it be happening soon? Man, it may be. Maybe it could be. We'll see what happens. Mark Zachary, he's announced that he's going to make his commitment and announce his commitment coming up on May 25th. We'll get into that a little bit. And we're going to take 2 of those names off the 26 quarterback list. And we're going to have Left go ahead and just make a tough decision on the spot. We're putting Left on the spot today on today's show, right? And we're going to take some audio and some things from Mr. Trujillo. Balin Trujillo, quarterback guru, quarterback coach to both Noah Grubbs and Brady Hart, man. We're going to take his words and allow you guys to hear what he had to say as he came on with myself and Ryan Roberts on the Recruiting Hour. And you need to go over the Irish Breakdown right now if you missed it and watch the start of that entire show. The first 30 minutes we dedicated to 2 young quarterbacks that could commit to Notre Dame and their quarterback guru who joined us. It was a great interview, man. Great time, great information. You make the decision for yourself, man. Go to Huddle, watch their film, watch their highlights, watch the interview on the Recruiting Hour with myself and Ryan Roberts from yesterday, and then listen to Left and what he has to say today and make your own decision of who you prefer, Noah Grubbs versus Brady Hart. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, look, you're winning either way. I promise you, you're winning either way. We have some interesting tidbits to get to. What do you think is the most ticketed car? What do you think is the most ticketed make in the United States? You'll be very interested. Is it really about the car and the maker, or is there some bias going on from those that hand out the tickets? Could it be that even you are being profiled simply because you drive a certain car? Simply because you drive a certain car. I'm going to tell you, man, we have a great show coming up. We're going to get into it momentarily, man. Go follow us. CFB Nation, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Make sure you lock in. Patreon. Look, tomorrow night, Three's Company with our guy Ken Gibbs. Patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Lock in YouTube, subscribe, share. That thumbs up, smash it for us. We greatly appreciate it. It helps with the views. Leave your comments because we respond to all. We appreciate you guys. Lucky Lefty Podcast. We are the home of the misguided passion, forever committed to making sure that we continue to spin it different.
GH
and
9980.
my boy Lefty.
Anchor 8.
I'll take him out because he's still finishing up some meetings. I told you that dude is recruiting, putting together a quarterback guru business, building developments, real estate. I need the dude to slow down a little bit. He's trying to get that guap. I'm not mad at him. Get to the bag. Matter of fact, if you have some GTB questions for us, put them in the chat. If you have a super chat, we appreciate that as well. We both multitask like crazy. Lucky Lefty Podcast. So Left, you let me know when you're ready to go, bro. But I want to talk about these two young men. In my opinion, Notre Dame is very diverse. You ready to go, bro? All right.
Yeah, I had to get the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi had to get reconnected and everything. We got
It's all good.
Yes,
it's all good. So, I just want to say your boy looked miserable on the sideline last night. Before we get into this,
hey,
wait. And I proposed something to you last night that I felt was fair. Shout out to Bronny, who had 19 out of 25 3-pointers at the combine, and then went out and put up a 40.5-inch vertical. I'm pulling for the young man. But I had an idea.
He doesn't have to come into the league and be an NBA All-Star.
But I have an idea. Because I don't want Bron to end his career in shame. Because he just looked pitiful on the sideline, scrolling through his texts, his social media, the Cavs, they stink. They're getting blasted by the Celtics. It was just a sad sight, bro. Savannah didn't even want her face showing. She had the big hat on, like she was at the Kentucky Derby or something. I just felt bad, man. Just felt bad. So I'm going to say this, Left. What if the Lakers traded LeBron back to the Cavs and let him end his career in a Cavalier jersey? It's only right. It's only right that he ends where he started, Left. And then he could escape. He could escape the shark-infested waters that is the Western Conference, that he's no longer capable of overcoming. He's just no longer that dude. So send him back east. Let him beat up on the Bulls 4 or 5 times a year, Left. Let him do that. He's capable of still doing that. Let him beat up on the Nets. You know what I'm saying? Let him beat up on the Knicks. Let him do that. Let him challenge the Celtics and Jason Tatum. It's much easier. It's much easier. It's much easier.
LeBron being in the East made it
Bron, see, Bron, he can't beat Jokic. That's been proven. And then you got Young Buck coming. Ant-Man is coming, Left. He's coming, Left. He's inevitable, bro. He's like a form of Thanos. Our boy Double R, Ryan Roberts, said he'll take him in Philly next to Embiid. Now, if he goes to Philly with Embiid, he's got a shot at his 5th title. I'll say that right now. I'll tell you that right now. If Embiid can stay healthy and he gets to Philly with him and Maxey, now you're cooking with fresh grease, boy. You can start the parade in Philly.
LeBron can only fit in LA or Cleveland. I think, him and his greatness and his legacy, the Lakers want to have him finish in that Laker jersey to put in the rafters with all the other greats. He'll be the greatest memento in that locker, Hall of Fame locker. But, I think him going back home to see the home team It's just like when you go back to high school and you go to the basketball game and everybody know you. It's good feels. They got your statue in the front, but you don't want to go play for that team anymore. You just come in to show love.
I got the trade. I got the trade for you. LeBron and Austin Reeves for Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, and some picks.
You good in the team.
Wait a minute. You bring in Austin Reeves, you still got Mikey Moore, you still got Garland. What do you mean?
You got Evan Mobley's a centerpiece to that team, though.
Okay, then you have to give me more. Then you got to give me one of the bigs. You can't. I need one of the bigs, bro, so I can move AD to power forward.
Yeah.
And then give me Donovan Mitchell. You good? I'm telling you, it's a win-win. Lucky Lefty podcast. So, Left, you ready to talk quarterback play? You ready to talk quarterback play?
I'm ready. I done did the study. I done did the tape.
I know you have. Because I'm ready to break it down. We met with Balin Trio, and someone you're familiar with in the quarterback guru landscape, Left. And, you know, you being an OC and a quarterback coach yourself on the high school level, I'm going to play some things that he said about what he does and how he views the game and the position. And then we're going to talk about Noah Grubbs and Brady Hart. And then we're going to put you on the spot because you got to make a decision today, Left. You got to make a decision. Who are you pulling the trigger on? Who's the guy? Is it going to be Noah Grubbs or is it going to be Brady Hart? We're going to go ahead and do that right now. So we're going to start once again. You missed out. Recruiting Hour, Balin Trio, who is the quarterback guru and teacher for both Brady Hart and Noah Grubbs. He joined myself and Ryan Roberts. Great interview. He gave us 30 minutes, and it was great insight to both young men and great insight into the position and how he feels things have changed when it comes to teaching the position. Left, I want to start out with the first thing he said when he was talking about how he goes about teaching his quarterbacks based upon the way the game has evolved and what he starts with. Let's hear from Balin Trio from the Recruiting Hour yesterday on Irish Breakdown.
And I'm young enough to know how the game is evolving, whereas a lot of these older, more, I would say, experienced quarterback trainers are so old school and so robotic that they're not really forming to the new way of the game of being off platform, making creative throws. Like back when I was playing, if you throw across the middle, across your body, you're never going to get that offer. They're going to be like, we can't take a chance. This guy's too risky. Now they want to see that. Are you willing to take that shot? Are you willing to make the creative play happen and put us in a position where it's high risk but also high reward? So that's the way the game is evolving. You see Patrick Mahomes all the time. Yes, granted, he is a pro-style quarterback, but he's making plays with his arm talent and using his feet doing it. So my job as a trainer, and what you just asked me about these different guys with different skill sets, is to focus on the details from the fundamentals and then work up. So I'm very big on footwork development. I'm not a mechanic guy because I know that the way the game is changing, you know, there will be different arm slot angles and arm, you know, different ways to use your arm when creating throws. But if I see something drastic, like the sidearm throw can't be your natural throw. I mean, there's drills that I can do to help you with your mechanics, but I'm not going to focus on that. What I focus on is good feet equals good ball. And if I focus on your footwork and I'm very detailed in that, chances are if you're on time, the ball is going to come out nice and it's going to be delivered right accurately at a high rate. So that's what I'm very big on. And then, of course, you add the fundamentals to the off-platform throws, which is I'm very creative in my drill work. All my drill work is mine. So I usually take some stuff that I see, but I like to alter it to make it my own. That way I know, hey, I'm working on something that these kids have never experienced. That way, when they do the stuff in camps, that stuff is easy. So they've already done the hard stuff through me, and I try to make it very chaotic so that the game is easy and these camp settings are easy, which is why you see a lot of my guys get offers, because they really show themselves and how polished they are when they are in those type of settings, and it's nothing to them. It's actually the easier part than my training. My training is a lot harder than the game. So you start to see the guys that I train, even from the youth level all the way up. You know, I started as young as 5. If you watch really the kids that buy into my program, these kids are all elite. These kids, they buy in, they're training 3-4 times a week, and they're performing at high levels because my training is a lot more difficult than what they're experiencing on the field. My job is to eliminate thinking. So if I can eliminate thinking, now you're more reactive. And if you're reactive, now you're just playing the game. So now it's fun. So now you're not overthinking, is the crowd too loud? Are people watching me? Am I going to make a mistake? No, now we're just going to go based off instinct because you train that way. And that way now you're not thinking, you're just playing the game. And that's when it becomes real fun. And that's how these guys stay consistent.
All right, your thoughts, Balin Trio, talking about the game, the landscape, how to play the quarterback position, how to train and teach the quarterback position with the different arm slots, the different types of quarterbacks that are coming up right now and stepping into the high school level, the college level, and translating into the NFL. But he said at the end of the day, he's not about mechanics. He's all about footwork. And that's something, if you listen and watch us each and every day, you've heard Left talk about that at the quarterback position for the past 3 years. Like, dude, your feet lead everything. Like, if you get your footwork down, that's one of the things you said about Deuce Knight, Left, is that's the challenge for Deuce. As talented as he is, he has to become more consistent with his footwork. Balin Trio talked about that. How do you feel about what he said and how the game has changed for the quarterback?
Well, I think the game hasn't changed because at the end of the day, you still need to be able to distribute the football. You're talking about the same comparison to say, oh, we need to learn how to shoot 30-foot, 40-feet jumpers like Steph Curry, and that needs to be the mold of the game. I don't think that's the case at all. Just like basketball, the mid-range game is still deadly. The mid-range game is still effective and very useful in playoff situations and in crucial basketball moments. So, yeah, as much as we love the three, as much as we love watching Patrick Mahomes do all the tricks of the trade, which aren't, you're talking about 90, 95% of the game, he's not doing that. So, yeah, I think there's a certain type of pizzazz that you want to have and possess at this stage in high school and college football to stand out. But nothing stands out more than completion percentage and being able to be consistent with your decision making and your footwork. For a guy like Deuce Knight, just like every guy in college, you need to be able to just continue to work your technique. And the one that's more consistent is the one that not only shows up on the game day, but is what is impressive at the professional level, because that's what really survives.
Man, did we lose Left? The Lucky Lefty podcast. Left will be back in a second. So, for me, just listening to him talk, it was very interesting because I just feel like, as an educator and a mentor to a lot of young people, as a teacher, you can't get stuck in your ways. And I think older gurus and quarterback coaches can get stuck in their ways and the way they taught the position. And the foundation of the position is always the same, right? Footwork, footwork, footwork. But the mental approach to the game, how it's changed, I think the responsibilities of the quarterback foundationally are still the same, right? Completion percentage, take care of the football, protect the football, and lead your team to put points up on the board. But at the end of the day, there are so many things that come into play. I think cadence is far more important than it ever was, especially with the game landscape of the game, right? The ability to make off-schedule plays is far more important than it was, in my opinion. I think the quarterback position, was kind of trying to get or keep quarterbacks away from doing that. Those things were frowned upon. And I think that's what Balin was pointing out. Like, absolutely, the quarterback position at its core is what it is. But at the end of the day, when you can get a guy like Patrick Mahomes, or you can get two guys like Brady Hart and Noah Grubbs that have the capabilities to use their legs, make throws across their body, once again, that might have been frowned upon. The greatest thing about Patrick Mahomes is that he was able to win and be successful as he became more efficient as a quarterback. I think that's the crazy thing. You were watching the wild, crazy Patrick Mahomes when he first came into the NFL. Now, when you watch his game, he has become more efficient, more of a leader, and he has taken less chances. A matter of fact, if you go back and watch the broadcast, that last championship drive, there was a play-action play where they wanted to take a shot in overtime to end it. I believe the old Patrick Mahomes probably takes that shot. He probably takes that shot in overtime, probably throws into double coverage, probably trusts his arm. But the more efficient, the more learned Patrick Mahomes, the more experienced Patrick Mahomes, he pulls it down and he lives to fight another day and eventually leads the Chiefs to a championship on that drive. So it's things like that where, you get Brady Hart, you get Noah Grubbs and their talent and the development. One of the things that he pointed out in the conversation with us as well is the relationship he has with Gino Guidugli. And him and Gino Guidugli talk all the time, constantly, like about both young men. And they're asking questions. Where are they at? What are their strengths? And that just shows you how interested Gino Guidugli is in development. Like, he's finding out what makes these guys tick even before they show up at Notre Dame. So by the time they get to Notre Dame, he has a plan for them. He's laying the groundwork and laying the foundation and building the infrastructure that's going to be able to develop these young men into the talented players that they can be. So once again, you have to love what you hear and what in that clip from Balin Trio, how he's developing young quarterbacks, and then how these young quarterbacks are coming into college prepared to be able to take on whatever is given to them, and to hear the relationship that Gino Guidugli has with Balin Trio, to be able to establish that relationship and full understanding. Like, I hate to be biblical, but it is an understanding that establishes the purposes. That's it. That's a proverb, right? That's an old proverb. Understanding establishes purpose. So Gino Guidugli is establishing purpose for both young men at Notre Dame by getting an understanding of who they are as quarterbacks, who they are as young men, who their families are. And you love to hear that. I don't know if Notre Dame has gone to that great depth. Of course, Gino's the quarterback coach. Dual roles were played a lot of times in that position, for that position, unless you had somebody like a Matt LaFleur who was kind of operating that position when MALIK was there as a quarterback without actually being the quarterback coach. Lucky Lefty podcast. We're going to go ahead and we're going to hear from Balin Trio when he talked about Noah Grubbs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what he had to say about Noah Grubbs.
He is a generational talent. Now, his stats say 6'4", 215, 220. He's actually 6'5", 193 pounds. He got all the way up to 228 last season, and we had to have a sit down with our little village. So we have a village. We call it the village, and it's his team. It's his parents. It's myself. It's a couple of different people outside of the family home. His workout trainer, his nutritionist, his stretch guy, his speed and agility guy. So we have a solid team around Noah. And we cut him down from 228 to 193. He's about 8% body fat now. He's completely shredded. If you see him now, his physique is completely changed. So the kid that you saw last August, who now has 7 school records, he's even more dynamic now. So he's completely flipped his whole script. And I'm telling you, it's unbelievable to see, because most kids have a hard time either gaining or losing weight. He's just proved to the whole entire country he can do both. Whether you want him to be the stocky 6'5", 220 pocket quarterback, or you want him to be the 6'4", 6'5", 190 agile kid that can create things with his feet, he's going to do it both ways. And his body's able to accept both ways, which is very, very hard. So I was very pleased to see how his body has changed over the last year into what he is now. He is definitely a generational talent. I believe he has a skill set to go to the NFL.
That's Balin Trio talking about Noah Grubbs, generational talent, skill set, arm skills, the ability to make all types of throws from different slots. Left, we know you don't like to hear certain terms when it comes to quarterbacks. You want them to have an opportunity to grow without having those things looming and hanging over their heads. But what did you think about what he said about the young man, Noah Grubbs? And then you can go into your thoughts on Noah Grubbs.
I wanted to finish what I was saying before the Wi-Fi went out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just talking about how being consistent and having good decision making is what really matters. Yeah, having that extra or a little sprinkle on top with the arm angle and jumping off of one leg.
I'm not mad at it. I like sprinkles.
But all of that, but sprinkles give you diabetes if you have too much of it, So
I bind that. I bind that because I love my sprinkles. I'm not diabetic, so I bind that. Maybe that's you. I bind that. Not in my life. Not my life.
So
love
my
watching
thing
it.
is, you got to be able to do the basic stuff consistently. Like Tom Brady is basic, and he's great because he's boring at the good stuff. He's consistently hitting those routes that are gimmies, consistently hitting things that are open. And when you're doing too much of trying to look like Patrick Mahomes, there's only one of him, and there's not many guys in the league like Patrick Mahomes because the way his skill set is set, you can't teach that to get you to the league. So I don't think that's something that people should be, that shouldn't be people's first attempt at training is to look like Patrick Mahomes. Their first attempt of training should be able to be consistent and get the base knowledge down and then go from there. So when we start talking about kids like Noah Grubb, I got a chance to watch him. I think that he is dynamic in his movement. He looks quick, he looks swift, and he looks tall. He looks like a guy that's out the package, ready to be made for college football day one. I like that he has a strong arm. He has kind of that Tyler Buckner one-level speed throw, but he does have some pretty good footwork, and, he pushes the ball vertically. His highlight tape is all just fitting it in tight, close windows down the field. He loves the post route. He loves throwing the ball down the field, but he's got a way about him that's dynamic and it's electric, and I think it's something that you could do a lot with. Would love to see him be a little more fluid. I think he's just got to calm his feet down a little bit. I think that's the difference between him and our guy Brady Hart, is that Brady Hart looks very poised. He looks like he's been doing it for years. Not as dynamic as a Noah Grubb. I think Noah has a stronger arm, but I think Brady has a better finesse on the football. But yeah, when it's getting serious in high school quarterback training from, being a professional athlete at however old you start throwing the football and taking it serious and doing all the different things to enhance your game. It's still, you got 30 years to go. So to be in tip-top Patrick Mahomes shape at high school, it's something that's going to have to be an internal drive for a kid, moving beyond just your trainer and all the resources that you're taking in now. So it's just funny because these kids are professionals at an early age, where in high school, when I'm thinking about it, I was just going out to the field consistently,
Right.
and just
Right.
I didn't have the weight charts and the resources necessarily. Not that it couldn't help, but I think that it boosts your morale a little bit going into it. And I think you'll see when the game, which I love so much about it, is that it's always coming down to the same kind of principles and the same basic methods. Can you be decisive? Can you be quick with your feet, quick-witted? Can you be consistent on hitting the boring stuff?
Yeah.
And all that other conditioning and training, I think, matters more when you get to Patrick Mahomes level, when you're getting paid $500 million. That's where that stuff counts, in my opinion.
You know what's
But
crazy?
as a high school kid, just throw the same route a million times and you're going to get better eventually.
You know what's crazy, Left? And I mentioned this when you dropped off for a bit. I said, look, well, I didn't say it this way, but I'll say it this way, and then you can rock out. I don't think the wild man, Patrick Mahomes, that came in throwing 50 touchdowns, just letting it rip, leads that Kansas City Chief team to a championship. I think the evolution of who he has become, the more efficient quarterback, is the only type of quarterback in his evolution that was able to overcome the obstacles that faced him and the Kansas City Chiefs last year, which goes to your point of getting back to, it's the basics of quarterback play. Like, I don't care how dynamic you are. At the end of the day, it gets back to the basics.
Absolutely. You got to be able to do that consistently. And that's where a lot of these new age quarterbacks fall off, is that, they want that exciting play too often. They want that best play on your film all the time. And when it comes down to it, in my opinion, I think that avoids the perspective of winning. You know, like it's about winning the football game and finding ways to do that, which is why I think that the wild man Patrick Mahomes comparison of him coming in, throwing 50 touchdowns, doing whatever he does to wow the crowd, I think that became less of who he was in this last game where they're running the football, where he doesn't need 300 yards. He can get 210 with 10 straight completions. Right? Finding ways to win the game as opposed to using your talents to wow and win a game is very rare on that level where you're just using that Patrick Mahomes ability or that Aaron Rodgers ability just to come out and win football games. It's about, you know, Aaron Rodgers when he was playing at his peak, he had some of the most throwaways in the league, but those throwaways didn't count as sacks. And his numbers may have not looked great, but he ended up winning the MVP and going far in the playoffs because of strategy. He was doing what it takes to win games. And so I don't want guys to lose that notion of, you need a certain level of skill, but that skill has nothing to do with you putting your team in position to win the game.
Yeah.
Right? Your skill has to develop. Okay, can you be accurate? Can you be consistently accurate? Can you make consistently good decisions? Because you can play good all game. You can do a turnaround throw with your opposite hand, jump over a dude, and then fourth quarter, you get in the red zone and you throwing it to the linebacker because you're not reading a high-low read right. You know, so I do think that this training has gotten very sophisticated. I mean, it's very detailed. They're going to make you feel like they building the perfect quarterback in the lab with all the bells and whistles, and I think it's great. But at the same time, I definitely would like to see, there's nothing wrong with just a good old standard, consistent, just going out and throwing routes. I mean, just go out there and throw your routes and I think it comes from Jack Trudeau, Big Manny's backup at Indianapolis Colts for so long. He said, listen, you can do a bunch of different things, but your best bet, if you take a 5-step drop 1,000 times, the closer you get to 1,000 reps, the better you're going to get. So there's only so much that a person could show you and wow you with to keep your interest in training, because that's what it turns into. You got to find things to keep you going when you're training, so you start doing all type of funky drills, and because, you're really out there in the park.
Right.
You out there in the park. It ain't nobody, ain't no football field.
It's no different than being a kid in the backyard, right? Yeah. Like whether you're shooting or you're hitting the ball or you're hitting the tennis ball off the garage back to yourself, you're creating situations in your head. You know,
that's exactly what it is.
I'm facing Roger Federer today versus
that's what it is. Exactly. You gotta be kind of messed up in the head.
Or I'm Michael Jordan is trying to defend me and I'm sticking him and I'm counting down the clock. You create. It's the same reps of the same thing, but you just create different environments for yourself. So I understand that, but at the end of the day, it is what it is.
That's right.
It is what it do. I used to go in the backyard by myself, and hit rocks.
Yeah. But
I think rocks in the air and just hit rocks.
But I think kids need to get back to that. Get more back to that creativity, get back to that more imaginative training, putting your mind in situations that you can see yourself in, because a lot of this training has become is 50 dudes in a group. Y'all get a third of the reps that you would training by yourself, and everything is being told to you. So it's just like you're a robot and just getting programmed. And not everybody's training is the best training. So, you just going in there and just doing what they tell you to do and not gaining that next level. It's like hard skill and soft skill. That's how I train. So when I'm training, soft skill is like, okay, we're going to do a drill, but I'm not trying to teach you technically. I want you to go out there and get a rhythm, find different ways that you can like it and this and that. We're going to get in the hard skill. Hard skill is that we need a 3-step drop. Oh, I need you to 1, 2, 3 action, and I need you to pivot, boom, boom. And so there's a hard skill developed, but also the soft skill is what we're losing more of. Where we just out there with the boys, we playing, throw them up, chuck them up. We just try to bean top each other. We doing one-on-ones, whatever the case is. The soft skill things is where kids are missing. It's like, why kids don't go outside and play? Because they playing on the video games, hard skill. Video games, hard skill. You got directions, you got missions and all that. Playing outside ain't no rules. Okay, there you go. But playing outside, you got to use your brain too. Freeze tag, regular tag.
You know what the craziest thing was? I love to be, when you had the odd number, like everybody came out to play, but it was an odd number, so someone had to be the artificial quarterback for both sides.
That's right.
I love that. I love being that. I love for the odd numbers to show up like our quarterback.
Straight up, I'm good. Our quarterback.
Right. And it's either 3,000 rush, 5,000 rush. You count 1, 2, 3, 4. My favorite throw? I used to just love just lofting it.
Yep.
And letting people run under it.
That's right.
Like most kids want to throw
early now.
Yeah, most kids want to throw hard. Pause. Most kids want to put zip on the ball and prove how strong their arm is. I used to love.
But you know where that comes from? You know where that comes from? That comes from when you play by yourself. When you go to these trainers, it's like, oh, you gotta hit the guy on the target, do the little footwork, hit him, looking good, because you're going against everybody else. Everybody else is with you, so you don't want to look, oh, you throwing it weak. No. But when you in that recess time, and your boy's like, hey man, send me deep.
Right.
And you getting rushed because the dude didn't block right. You just got to throw it early, and you see that thing fly in the air one time, and it's just up, and it's that vision of that perfect. See, that's what you learn from soft skill. See, you lose that, like your floater game. You in the backyard, you just playing around, even playing horse. You do some crazy floater.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the things when you're not being trained hard skill that come out in the game. In the game, and you see it all the time. The game gets tight, basketball and football included. The game gets tight. All those guys that have been at the hella trainers, they nowhere to be found.
We saw nowhere to be found. Shea Gill just did it all last night in the fourth quarter. That's backyard. He was in his backyard. He was in his backyard.
Yeah, he didn't get the double pump, dribble 2 stops, and then no. It's he backyard. I got to get this bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with football. That's why Patrick Mahomes, he can play freely, because when it comes down to all the hard stuff, and it doesn't pan out, he can think as a creative player. Most of these guys can't think outside the structure of if it breaks down. Because what happens when it breaks down? Oh, you just reset the drill. Oh, that's okay. We'll just restart the drill. We'll do it perfectly, directly right. But that's just not how sports is.
Yeah.
You got to keep playing. Shit, he may fall down. But you got to keep playing. You got to jump over and make a play. That's where all that extra stuff comes from that Balin's talking about. All that stuff you can't script, that comes from soft skill of continuing to play when you outside. You don't get that when you're doing bag drills and cone drills and got to hit the guy right. No, that's hard skill stuff. That's what you get coached for. Soft skill is, man, it's 2 seconds on the clock. What they do when you was growing up? 2 seconds on the clock for the 3. That's where you get those moments in those games from. So that's what kids need to get back to. You don't need a $5,000 trainer. Don't go to them. Take your boys after school, hit outside for at least 2 hours, and then balance it. Go to your trainer once or twice. You don't really need a trainer in high school and college, in my opinion. I think that's all built off the muscle, off the grind. Are you in the gym? Are you just in the gym? Are you practicing your craft every day? That's how you get to the league. When you get to the league, then you get a trainer. Then get your little strength coach to make you 1% better because he ain't got the science broke down and you got the money to pay for it, right? Patrick Mahomes goes to a trainer now because that's just a part of the daily regimen when you got that type of money. He got money to spend on that. But y'all out here, man, not saying that Balin ain't doing a great job or making these laboratory quarterbacks. But these same laboratory quarterbacks, just like Cade Klubnik, when they get in that real action and he fall apart and you can't figure out what's wrong with him. He the 5-star God's gift to earth quarterback, trained his whole life, and he got there, don't look stiff as a board, don't know what to do because he ain't got the soft skill. He ain't got the soft skill. He can do all the combine, hit the perfect arm angle. But you go third down versus Notre Dame, they sending you something you ain't seen before. What's your soft? You start freaking out. Don't know what to do. So I think there's a difference between that. But getting back to Noah Grubbs, definitely like the kid's tape. I like his energy that he plays with. A lot of times you want to see the energy a guy plays with that can stimulate the rest of the team. I think he has that. He is kind of a one-speed pitcher though. So we'll see what happens.
Lucky Lefty podcast. So here we go. John Dalton is in the chat. Look, I'm very sensitive about our fans and how people approach our fans, especially during the show. So our prayers are with you in your situation. I mean, my preference is that you will contact us outside of the show. And if you have an urgent situation right now, if someone feels the need or is led to contact him and help, by all means, feel free to do so. I just don't personally, I don't prefer for solicitations to take place this way. You can SD2 mics on Twitter and Instagram.
So those solicitations.
Yeah, I don't, I just don't like people, because you never know. I don't want to speak and say it's a scam. I don't want to do that because you never know what people are going through. I'm the type of person that believes, be careful how you entertain people because you could be entertaining an angel and it could be a troll. You never know. But I'd rather take the high road in this situation. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That's regardless of what my spidey senses might be telling me. I still control.
You just gotta err on the side of a scale.
Yeah, I still control how I react, and I'm going to react in love either way, even if you do, because you get more credit for loving those that don't show love towards you. It's easy to love those that show you love. Can you love those that don't show you love or might be trolling you? So I'm going to choose to operate in love. All right.
Okay, that's real, Sean.
Yeah. No, I send love, prayers, and hope everything works out well. That's all I'm gonna say. Here's Baylor Trio on Brady Hart left.
Yeah, Brady Hart. So I say Noah is the generational talent. I call Brady the freak. This kid, he's about 6'5" now. I wouldn't say he's 6'4". He's about 6'5", just like Noah. And he's about 190, I would say 192 pounds. So, yeah, he's gained some solid weight in the offseason. He has completely flipped his body, too. I mean, we talk about Noah. Brady did the exact same thing. I mean, he was 165, 170 pounds soaking wet last year, winning a state title, getting beat up every game. I mean, now he's the solid 6'5", 190, hopefully 195 pounds soon. Freak, and the kid has everything. I mean, he can run, he can throw. He's smart. He's getting taught under a head coach that was a high-level quarterback at UCF, and Coach Snyder. Coach Franco's been there a long time as an OC, so he's learning the game, and he picks things up very fast. He processes things very fast, whereas Noah has a lot of experience learning the game. Brady's learning it now, and he's retaining it and processing it. And we talk about the ceiling. Brady hasn't even come close to his ceiling. So that's what excites me about Brady. And here's a little side note when we talk about little scouting report on Brady. He was actually a defensive player growing up. He loved hitting people. He was a linebacker, defensive end. He played defense in the youth football, and he just wanted to hit people. So when you see his tape now and the punishment that he took last year and was able to stay in the pocket, especially against like St. Thomas Aquinas, who's top 10 in the country, and he threw 500 yards, 5 touchdowns against them, should have beat them, arguably a very big controversy there. There was games like that where you're like, how is this kid able to just stand there and take this punishment? Well, he used to be the one delivering it. So that kid is just special. And like I said, he's a freak of nature because he can run with his 6'5" frame. He understands his body, and his ball is flawless. He has no hitch in his throw. He was also a baseball kid. His dad was a baseball American at Florida, so he knows what the pro regimen looks like. So along with Noah, and now he has a village, Brady also has one.
Yo, he called that cat a freak. He called Noah Grubb's a generational talent, and he called Brady Hart a freak. They can do it all, arm and legs.
I mean,
left boy, you are such a protector of quarterbacks and young men. Left, you hate for things to be placed upon kids, man. And I understand, bro, because you just want kids to have the creativity and the ability and room to grow.
It's just like that's like everybody's saying every year a point guard come out of Chicago. That's the next D Rose. That's the next D Rose.
And I'm here to tell you, ain't too many of them floating around. There's some great players in Chicago, but there ain't too many next D Roses.
Freaking generational talent. That's not a lot of people out here.
Right. Everybody can't be a generational talent, bro. Everybody can't be
a freak or a generational.
Just because you're the top quarterback in that class.
This year, every year needs to be a number one. That don't mean you the generational.
Trevor was generational.
Yeah, Trevor was generational.
And he's still struggling.
And he's struggling.
Struggling. Is he struggling?
I mean, hell, they just got Mac Jones. What's that saying? The league move fast. So even the generational talent. My thing is, your generational talent, you make $100 million. So Deshaun Watson, $100 million, that's generational talent. Your Patrick Mahomes, $100 million, that's generational talent. Freaks. Jared Goff earned his money. That'd be better if they were more like even Jared Goff comparisons. Because Jared Goff, I can respect the climb like Jared Goff.
Yes.
And if Balin was like, yeah, I got a couple Jared Goffs that can do something and be better, I'd be like, you know what? I believe him. But he jumped to freaks and generate like you just found something ain't nobody else seen. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
So I do think that both of these kids are really good though. So let's preface that. I'm not poo-pooing on their actual talent or anything, but I ain't see no generational talent or no freaks. Now, Brady Hart looks very, very polished. He looks very consistent. He looks like he knows what he's doing, and he has a confident football. He has variations and levels of how he throws it. I really like Brady Hart, actually. So that's my take on it. I don't think he's super athletic like a freak or nothing, but the man has a very good balance in the way that he throws the football. He knows where the football is supposed to be, and he throws it away from the defense. So those are some of his greatest qualities that I think is freakish. That's hard to teach. Consistently being able to put the football away from the defense and make the throws that he makes, I think that's freakish. But him just, being 6'5" is overrated at this point, from a sense that, height.
No, that's not overrated. I'm sorry. I can't let you say that. As a Notre Dame fan, having 5'11", 5'10", 6 feet.
But pertaining to what, though?
That's not overrated. That's very much
I'm saying overrated as it pertains to adding to a skill set. I think that him being tall brings a presence, but I don't think being tall.
Oh, no. Just because you're 6'4", 6'5" doesn't mean that you're a dude. By no means am I saying that. I'm just telling you, the profile being 6'3", 6'4" in Notre Dame.
It looks great. It looks great. I think we need more 6'4", 6'5". I mean, hell, we do got it, the way that we've been recruiting lately.
That is the room now, right?
Yeah, it is the room now. So let's see if that size adds to the production level, obviously, that we're looking for. But Brady Hart's a kid that has a high ceiling, in my opinion, and I really like the way he goes about it now. And Noah Grubb's not bad either. I think he's more the athlete, but a little variation in the way that he throws the football, I think, can help him, because it's just not going to be as clear as day some of those throws that he had on film. But a guy that can hit the open man is a great start into getting into that. Is he going to be an NFL talent? Obviously, the size of these guys, they can go and play today. They can go in there and fit into these locker rooms today, which is more so of what high school football recruiting is turning into. Instead of it being a project, you damn near got to be project finish going in some of these schools, because you're competing with transfers. So it'll be interesting.
It's crazy because he also talked about the fact in that clip that, remember, he said Noah Grubbs has been like pretty much training since he was 5 years old. And
That's
then he
right.
talks about Brady Hart, and he's like, yeah, I didn't really get him until like 8th grade freshman year. Like he just really got into training. So it kind of goes into your point you were talking about, like, man, just let these kids play, man. Just let them play. Let them go into the backyard. Let them create the environment and have fun with it. And then once they get to a certain point, then they can start really getting into the training of the position. One of the things that also stood out is he said he's a fabulous processor of information.
Yeah.
Now, that's something he specifically mentioned about Brady Hart that he didn't mention about Noah Grubbs. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I need my quarterback to be able to process information.
Processing information and using it to be able to and being able to use it in order to be quick and have quick decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all about decision-making process as a quarterback. And when you can process a lot of information, that's great. But regurgitating that on the field is a little different. So if he can, I'm sure Brady Hart can go in the classroom and draw up his 15 favorite plays and talk at length about a lot of them. And you can process information in that way. But being able to take that, what you put on the board and have conversations about and turn it into 2 or 3 second quick decisions, I think that's where the magic is made. And it also takes a long time to be able to take a play that you can, you got to do this and this, and this happens, and do that in 3 to 4 seconds or 2 to 3 seconds on the field. That's where the talent is. So that's where you got to be like, that's talent. Being able to, that's the same as you go to school. These kids have 4.0s, 5.0s, and have 0 street smart. It's like, yeah, you may be knowledgeable, but you getting scammed every day when you walk out on these streets. So that's the difference. It's the same exact thing for football. Yeah, you may be the football encyclopedia, the football almanac, the football historian, but you go on that field and can't take that and put it on the field is where a lot of guys get held up, and that's where the difference in talent is. Now you got guys like Patrick Mahomes. We're only saying one guy, and we're only saying one guy that can go out there and tell you, I ain't no defenses and I won a Super Bowl. So that's a generational talent. So if Balin was like, yeah, Noah Grubbs and Brady Hart won a championship in their first year and they just didn't even know what they were doing, that's when you start talking about freaks and generational talent.
Somebody in the chat asked if you think Deuce Knight is a freak.
I think he's a freak. He can run fast. He can throw that thing. He's tall. He's strong. All of that. That's a freak. But if you told me Deuce Knight's been training since he was 2 years old, I'm going to say that's expected. I'm like, okay, well, damn, that's what you're supposed to get. But for kids that, that haven't been doing it, like them, and we know what a freak is. We go into these
anybody, dude. I saw Derrick Rose in 8th grade and knew.
Exactly. And you know when you see it. Like Stephon Tuitt going to the weight room, he's never benched, throw up 405 first time like it was nothing, had no idea what he was putting up. Everybody looking around like that was 405. He just don't even know because he never lifted. That's a freak.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Bro, yeah. What?
Tuitt never lifted.
Oh, 5.
Tuitt never lifted weights going into school for real. So they trying to figure out, okay, what can he do? He going there just repping 315, 405 like it's nothing. Like, come on. That's a freak. That's a freak. Not no.
I would immediately have the NCAA test that dude.
That's what I'm talking about. Like Wembanyama, that's a freak. He's 7 feet. And I'm talking about blocking and shooting. I mean, I've never seen nothing like it. I can only imagine 10 years from now what Wembanyama look like.
Sham Garden, Euro stepping. Yo.
That's freak. That's talent. That's generational talent. Steph shooting the three from half court, that's talent, generational. But if we got to convince people that you're generational, you're a freak because you've been training all your life. I just don't know how that works.
Hey, man. When we come back, we're going to put Left on the clock, boy. We're going to put him on the clock like Drake and Kendrick were on the clock last week.
Hell yeah.
It's time to make that decision, baby. 2 people on the board. Which way are you going? Noah Grubbs, Brady Hart. Let us know how you feel after hearing from the quarterback coach and hearing from Left. Let us know who you're rocking with. Which quarterback do you want to see at Notre Dame? Lucky Lefty Podcast. We'll be right back. We spin it different.
What's up, family? The merch shop is finally here. Lucky Lefty Network merch shop. We got it all. From the shirts to the hoodies to the hats to the nitty gritties. Come here right now. Shop with us. Come get the swag because you know, if anything else, we spin it different. You see the gritty. You see how we get down. It's elite.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. The ONORA boys in the building. Left. Some funny things are happening, man. Do you ever feel like, have you ever experienced being profiled at any point in life?
I'm sure it happens.
You know, we're profiling these 2 quarterbacks. I just want to stay in the spirit of profiling, man. Have you ever felt like you've been profiled? You know, and I don't want, you know, because most people are probably thinking like, all right, where are they going with this? But, you know, recent report came out about the most ticketed cars, the most ticketed cars. The make and the model, Left. There's some very interesting findings. And the model, Left. Some very interesting. The guess, what would be your guess for the most ticketed make?
The most ticketed is probably Nissans. I feel like Nissans get it to work.
That's a good guess. That's a good guess. But it's not Nissan.
The most ticketed.
Most ticketed make.
If it's Honda Accords, is that the next one?
It's another good guess.
Or are they like fancy cars, like some Benzes or something?
No. Well, the most ticketed model is actually a luxury car. But the most ticketed make, the top 5 would probably shock you.
Okay.
Number 5, the most ticketed at 7.7% of tickets nationwide, Mazda. Left. Number 4 at 8% of drivers with speeding tickets. Subarus, Left. Subarus. I told the top 5 is probably going to shock you. Coming in at number 3 at 8.3, Volkswagen, Left.
Volkswagen?
Yeah. Coming in at number 2, which really didn't shock me. I figured they would be in the top 5. Scions.
Okay.
At 8.4. And then coming in at number 1, drum roll. Infinity. And I when I thought about it, I was like, okay.
And Infinity.
Yeah, and Infinity is a profile type vehicle. Really think about it. It's a sports car, especially the smaller models. You can trick it out. You can use it in the street races. And let's be honest, man, the Infinity, especially the Q45 going back, is like a hood classic.
It is.
That's like the Q45 is like today's Challenger. Like everybody grabs a Challenger. It seems like everybody back.
Everybody wants to get them Challengers, some Trackhawks, and all that.
Yeah, everybody was getting that Infinity Q45 back in the day. Chopping it up, throwing something on it, improving the sounds. Now, at 17%, this is incredible, dude. This is incredible. The BMW i3 represents 17. BMW i3 represents 17.6% of speeding tickets nationwide, bro.
The BMW?
The BMW i3. That's the smaller, sportier. Yes. 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 Now, guess what? What make is the least ticketed? The least ticketed make in the country.
What is?
Well, I'll just play the song.
Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac.
Yes, sir.
Gangsta white wall.
Yeah.
TV antennas in the back.
Yeah.
You may not have a car at all.
Yeah.
But remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall.
Yes, sir.
Just be thankful
Be thankful for what you have.
for what you got.
Yeah, love. Cadillacs, bro.
Wow.
Cadillac. Nobody's speeding in Cadillacs, bro.
Nobody's
They
speeding.
get the scene with the gangster lean, baby.
Yeah, you can't speed in that.
Yo, you can't profile. I mean, you see somebody in the Cadillac, you just, man, cops are like, oh, they just chilling.
They just chill. They ain't up to no. They ain't up to
They ain't up to
nothing.
no good.
They ain't up to
Not up to
nothing.
any, yeah, chilling. They're chilling. But it's amazing. The profiling might be a little bit more about that these police departments might be looking at and focusing on certain cars, bro.
I mean, I guess.
The numbers may bear it out that they're looking like, yo, if you see this car, more than likely, you're going to find this car speeding. It's interesting, bro. And you know what? Certain cars probably do come with a certain spirit.
Yeah.
I think my most ticketed car, because I had my first car was the Nissan 240 SX. And I went from that to a Nissan Pathfinder. And then I went from that to the Bubble Light. Man, I missed that car to this day. Boy, I had a emerald green 99. No, I had a 2000 emerald green CLK 320 with the bubble lights when they first came out.
Oh, you weren't playing.
That was like a graduation gift, bro. Bro, I got the most tickets in that car, bro. I was not a heavily ticketed young man to that point. Rarely got tickets, man. Rarely got tickets. I had a little starter car, that little Nissan. Went to the Pathfinder. You know, Pathfinder, you in a truck, you chilling. Man, I got that little CLK. Yo, I was in traffic court at least once a year.
Damn.
Easy. I think certain vehicles come with certain spirits, bro.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's why my next car I really want is that Porsche Panorama. But I already know if I get, I'm scared, Left. I'm scared. I'm scared that if I get it, you're gonna see me in front of the judge, bro. Because I'm gonna put the hammer down on that bad fella. I'm trying to put my foot through the floor. I'm trying to put my foot through the floor.
Limits, ain't it?
Man, I dare somebody in a challenger to pull up next to me, boy.
Oh my goodness.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. I mean, I remember I got in trouble. It was Memorial Day. Everybody was out at my parents' house, and my dad had, do you remember the S class? My dad had an S600 V12.
Oh.
They don't make them anymore. You have to special order them.
Oh my goodness.
This was the long body S class before they went to the shorter body. He had it in pewter gray. It was two-tone, pewter gray and like brown. I took it out. Nobody was looking. I pulled it out. And there's a stretch of expressway called 394 that is just empty, especially like on holiday, right? 2 lanes. And so I drove all the way down to 159th Street, got off and got back on. And I knew from 159th to Lincoln Highway, which is Route 30, it was pretty much going to be empty. Bro, it was the greatest exhilaration I ever had and the scariest moment I've ever had wrapped in one.
It was the scariest?
V12, I punched it, left. Punched it. I think I got up to 160 on the speedometer. Punched it because the road was wide open. It was no one. And then my boy was in the car with me, and he was like, "Hey, man." So I started to break it down, and that's when it got scary. When I started to hit the brakes, that's at 160. It was so smooth, I didn't even realize I was going that fast. I didn't realize how fast I was going until I started to slow down. And it was
so he was almost hydroplaning.
Man, it was crazy. And that's when I was like, yo, all right, let me relax. I only need to do it once. I had no need to do it ever again. Yeah. That was enough for me. That was enough for me. And I actually told my dad, like, man, I'm good on that.
Oh, so you didn't need to see no more.
No, that V12 was dangerous, bro. That V12 was dangerous. So those are the most ticketed and the least ticketed vehicles. You know what? The second place behind the Cadillac is Tesla.
Really?
Yeah, they don't come after Tesla drivers, bro. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's because it's the electric cars don't get too fast, do they?
I don't know. The next time I hop in one, I'll punch it.
I don't think you can punch it. They got them things set up to where it can lock you in the car and take you somewhere, man.
I saw a couple of those ugly trucks out in LA last week.
Those cyber trucks?
Man, them things ugly as hell.
You don't like the cyber trucks?
Them things are so ugly, bro. And then someone wrapped it in like lime green with graphics. It was just ugly. I was like, man,
that was not it.
This thing is so ugly, man. Oh, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Lock in. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up. It helps us. Oh, man. Leave your comments. We respond to all. CFB Nation, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Then patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. I got Cam and Daniel. He'll join us tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, another episode drops. Three's Company, where I got Ken Gibbs. All right, Left. It's the moment of truth, man. However you want to do it, I'll let you give your pros, your cons. How do you want to do it? You want me to give you, like, you know, the areas, you know, who has the better arm, who has the better vision, or do you just want to go ahead and give you synopsis on both guys? We can just do the synopsis on both guys. All right. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Malik ZAIRE is ready to make his decision, man. It's a tough one. You have the generational talent versus the freak.
It's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Noah Grubb versus Brady Hart, 2026 quarterbacks. And I will say this, Balin Trio kind of hinted yesterday that Notre Dame would probably be getting a commitment for one of the two really soon. He told us that yesterday on Irish Breakdown, recruiting out. So without further ado, Love, you can go ahead and take it away. Who are you taking? Which one of these guys are you pulling into the MALIK ZAIRE quarterback room to say
if I had to take who between the two, I gotta go Brady Hart. Now I'm only going Brady Hart because I feel like he has the higher ceiling. I think Brady Hart has enough poise in the pocket that he plays, and he gets the football out on a level which I think is more consistent. I think with Noah Grubbs, there's plays that are his plays, and he knows where the ball is going, and he's like a pitcher on the mound. He's just going to take his strike any chance he gets. He's throwing his fastball, and he throws a great fastball. And I like that he's athletic enough. He does enough in the pocket. He moves around pretty solid. But Brady Hart is my guy. I think his poise, the way he throws the football with different levels of degree, but also he looks very confident in his ability to make quick decisions. And when he takes off, he takes off. You know, I think for a guy like Noah, the technique can be cleaned up a little bit. It actually looked like Brady Hart was the more trained individual, so maybe he doesn't have any bad habits necessarily. But for a guy like Noah, I think it's more specific to scheme. And if I'm doing a certain offense, I would take Noah. But Brady is more fit for a universal fit. If you can have a quarterback with a lot of talent around him, like the CJ Carr kind of player, I think Brady Hart's more in line with that. And I can build off of that moving forward in the future too. But I like Noah.
So if you get Noah Grubbs into your quarterback room, what's the first thing you're doing? What are you giving him as the infrastructure of his development?
If I get Noah Grubbs, I'm going to just find out what he's really good at. I think, watching his film, he's got a couple plays that are his plays. He likes that post over the middle. He likes taking some shots down the sideline. So I would incorporate some of that into the offense, but I would be probably more so an RPO, do a little read option with him, get the defense going side to side. So because he is a vertical level guy, once you get those guys moving, then you can start piercing with seams and stuff down the field. So I think that he fits more into what Denbrock likes in terms of that RPO side to side, outside the hashes throws type of football player. And I think Noah can fit into that. Now, in comparison to who else is in the room, I just think, styles make fights. And the style he has, I think, is more of a meld from what we already have in the room, like a Deuce Knight and a Kenny Minchie and a CJ. So standing out in that group, I think, would be harder for him than a guy like Brady Hart, who fits more in the CJ's line, but he's a bigger kid. And as somebody that you can toss multiple different versions of offense at him, and I think his skill set and his arm ability can fit those different molds as opposed to and not being that case.
Lucky Lefty podcast. So left, it's going Brady Hart. If he had to pick between the two, I don't look, man. You can give me a coin right now. I'll flip. I don't care. I don't care, man. I don't. I will say this, though. I will say this. In all fairness, Left, I don't even know out of the 7 guys they had on the board originally, I think the Curtis kid from Tennessee was my favorite. He was out there just playing with, he was making it look like I'm playing with kids in my neighborhood, little kids. You see the little kids playing in the street, you come out and they call your name because they know you play in high school and they want you to come throw it around with them a little bit. and they try to tackle you and they're hanging on to your legs. He made high schoolers look like that.
Okay, yeah.
You know, eventually he committed to Georgia, but it is, he would be my number one out of this 26 class. But I would have Brady Hart, Noah Grubbs, like right there behind him.
Right there behind. Yeah, they all
Right
in
there
the
behind
same
him.
neighborhood.
Right there behind him. And I was a Brady Hart guy. Have been a Brady Hart guy. Listening to Balin Trio, I found a new affinity for Noah Grubbs. I just wouldn't want to face Brady Hart, bro.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want to face Brady Hart. I
would much rather face the athlete than the surgeon on the football field. That's not saying anything negative about Noah Grubbs.
It's
absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
I just hate facing quarterbacks that are surgical, bro.
Yeah,
you can hit them for 3 quarters, pound them for 3 quarters, and somehow, some way, here they come. Just surgical, man. And for me, that's the vibe I get off Brady Hart. He's that dude. Like, you remember teams would just, whether Super Bowl, AFC Championship game, you would just watch Tom Brady just get hammered. And it seemed like, okay, they got him today. They have his number. And even the last championship that the Denver Broncos won, remember that AFC Championship game where they were hitting man? DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller were just smacking Tom Brady all game long, 3.5 quarters. And you look up, here this dude is in the 4th quarter, bro. Dropping dimes to Grump. Moving in position.
That's different than Cam. Remember Cam went against the Denver Broncos opening night?
Mm-hmm.
Got tore up. They ended up talking about making new rules after that game. He was getting smashed. So, yeah, it's those guys that are surgical because at the end of the day, they don't need much.
No.
And when they get that rhythm, it's hard to miss. Like Steph, like the only difference is you can't tackle in basketball, but I'm sure they want to. Especially when Steph gets hot.
You know who Noah Grubbs is?
Who?
Noah Grubbs is Reggie Miller. It's kind of just, it's ugly, but it's deadly. Yeah. It's not the prettiest. I'm not about to call it ugly. It's just not the prettiest, but it's deadly.
Not the prettiest.
Not the prettiest, but it's deadly. Brady Hart is Steph, bro.
Steady, for sure.
His throw is just steady. The release, the ball is pretty. Doesn't have as big of an arm as Noah Grubbs.
No, he doesn't.
You know what I'm saying? Not as spectacular, but it's just
not as spectacular.
And it's just pretty. And it's
just every time.
It's just every time. It's just, and that's Steph when he lets it go. Every time Steph Curry lets it go, I feel like it's going in. Every single time. Every time. And if I was a wide receiver, I would probably say Brady Hart has the more catchable ball. It just looks that way. And I might be wrong because I've never caught a ball from either one. But yeah, my preference, even with how I've become more impressed with Noah Grubbs, man, Brady Hart is, you know what I feel like? Have you ever made a decision between 2 young ladies and even though you felt like you made the right decision, you still felt like you lost something?
Oh, yeah, every time.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I choose her.
But you feel like you lost.
You feel like you lost something, man. And that's what I feel like. I feel like no matter who ends up at Notre Dame, I'm going to have a feeling like, that other kid. Hey.
That other kid, yeah.
Could we have had the other kid? I guess it's a great space to be in if you're Notre Dame, but at the same time, it's like, man, you're gaining something, but you still feel like you lost something.
Yeah.
You know, so I think both kids end up shaking Roger Goodell's hand, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think that for sure. They both end up shaking Roger. Man, look, I think people, they go to watch film of Noah Grubbs, and they're like, "Yep." You go to watch film of Javon Boggs, and all of a sudden you don't even think about Javon Boggs. Now you're like, "Who is this quarterback though?"
Who's the quarterback?
Because dude, he is dropping dimes to this dude, like all over the place.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, man, there it is. Left has chosen Brady Hart, man, but at the same time, he'll take Noah Grubbs too. Bring them both. Bring them both. So it has been announced. I don't know how this might impact Notre Dame, Left, but it has been announced that Comcast, the cable company and network, is forming a streaming bundle that includes Peacock, Netflix, and Apple TV at a discounted rate. Now, the announcement comes as major media players increasingly join forces to drive value for users and subscriptions for streaming services. Comcast did not disclose what the pricing is going to be, but I think it's very interesting, and I think it sets the stage once again because all these cable companies are getting scared, bro.
They're getting scared.
They're leaving cable, man, and just strictly like YouTube TV. And when you start to see MLB TV pull itself from YouTube TV, the NFL package came to YouTube TV last year. It's very interesting to see the landscape and how it's evolving and developing. Yeah, the cable companies are trying to save themselves. Comcast is trying to save its network of sports, entertainment, and sport networks that it has nationwide. It's trying to keep its subscribers, and maybe by buying and bundling Peacock with Apple TV and Netflix, which I told you last year, Netflix started to delve into daily content. Not content that is produced and placed there, but daily content that you can come and watch in real time. And you're going to see somewhere down the line professional games. I think you're definitely going to see with the NBA now moving from TNT and Turner to NBC, you can expect to see regular season games and playoff games on Peacock. How does this play into Notre Dame? Could you possibly see a playoff game in the future on Peacock? Think about it. We know ESPN has some rights. Well, will Notre Dame have pregame rights? Will Notre Dame have some type of rights by which they can do their own type of broadcast surrounding the playoffs that's launched on Peacock? It's going to be very interesting to see how things play out, bro, because places like DirecTV, Comcast, what's the other big is it Warner out in LA? What's that big?
Cox.
Cox.
Yeah,
Cox.
Yep. Yeah.
Out in LA.
Comcast. Sorry, Comcast. It's called Comcast.
Well, it's going to be very interesting, man, to see how things play out. Very interesting, but we'll see the impact that it has for Notre Dame, and we'll see whether or not subscribers are added or eyes are put on Peacock, which only helps Notre Dame. That only helps Notre Dame. I can't wait for the new episodes of Bel Air coming up in a month or so, bro. Did you check out the first episode of the new season of SHAUN?
See, I never got into the SHAUN like that because the SHAUN it took off. I heard it after the first two seasons. It took off into something that it wasn't Chicago. Like Chicago couldn't relate to it. So they may have came back to the original themes of the show, but I heard it was solid.
You know what's frustrating? It's not that left. I think they have enough. They've done a good enough job of weaving the authenticity of Chicago into the show. It just upsets you when you see scenes and they're like, "Yo, I'm on the south side and it's a west side street." You can clearly see the street sign and it's a west side street, and you're like, "Dude, come on, man." You couldn't take the effort to film that on the actual south side street. Only people from Chicago can notice that and get upset about that. So I think early on it was much to do about nothing. Chicago people just being upset because they wanted everything to be 100% authentic, but it's Hollywood. Do you really expect everything to be 100% authentic? No. And the person that's from Chicago, well, she grew up into Chicago until she was 10. So I'll give her street cred. She spent the majority of her life in Evanston, which is a suburb, but you know, her early childhood was, if I can claim Kendrick, who lived here until he was 5, then I'll let her get a pass. It's cool. Lefty podcast. So we talk Noah Grubbs. We talk Brady Hart. We heard from that quarterback coach / guru, Balin Trujillo. Once again, if you missed the full interview with Balin Trujillo, myself and Ryan Roberts, go over to the recruiting hour from yesterday over on YouTube, or you can check it out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and the Irish Breakdown feed. Left, it's getting real bad for your boy. Can I show you how bad it's getting for your boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, when the babies I think this is it. Let's see. Did I hit the right thing?
What song you want?
That's what it is.
That's the song you want?
Like us, they not like us. Are you my friend? Are you my friend?
Ooh.
Had to. When you got the baby saying
bad for Jake. It's
wait
all
a minute.
bad.
When you got the baby saying OV ho, bro, this is not good, bro. This is not good, man. It's not good. Question left. I'm gonna tell you right now. Let me tell you when I know it's over. If they play not like us in Notre Dame Stadium, bro, I'm done. I'm done. If they
play sexy, he played sexy red there, so I knew it was over there.
If they play not like us in Notre Dame Stadium this season, Drake, and because like they said in the Joe Budden podcast, when HBCU season comes back around, every Saturday, boy, every band in the nation is stepping to that. Every band in the nation is playing that at HBCU schools. This is bad. It's all bad, bro. Lucky Lefty podcast. Any petty trains today, Luck? You got anybody in the petty train?
Not really. I think people are constantly petty, but I haven't got the chance to catch up on everybody that's been petty.
For the second consecutive day, that cat Questlove is on the petty train. This dude Questlove had the audacity to say that he didn't respect Tupac's hit him up because of the mix. If it would have been mixed better, I would have had more respect for it. I'm losing respect for Questlove day by day, Left.
Yeah, he's losing it.
Like, what are you talking about, man? No one cares about the mix. I'm sure there are multiple songs in the beef with Drake and Kendrick that could have been mixed better. It's a diss track. It's not meant for LP. It wasn't meant to hit the charts. Man, punch your ticket, man. Welcome to the petty train. 2 consecutive days. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right, Left. Great show today, my man. Cam McDaniel joins us tomorrow. Don't forget, Three's Company drops over on Patreon as well with a guy, Ken Gibbs. But Left is designing his playbook right now. You guys don't know that. He's designing his 11 personnel right now. Because they definitely can't go heavy right now. They definitely have to use that speed and quickness right now. That 11
Man,
personnel is going to be in heavy rotation out there in Arizona.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But over more so if anything, the petty train goes to my head coach. It's funny because we have a bee problem. It's the second time ever since I've been coaching football where we've gotten chased off the field because of bees. Killer bees. I'm talking about kids getting stung up. We got to break out the EpiPens. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then the district sends out the bee guy at 6 a.m. So he go out there talking about, I don't see nothing. We got practice at 5:30 and getting chased off the field.
The bees already hit him up. The bees already hit him up.
The bee's sleeping by the time the beekeeper come out there. He like, man, I don't see no problem. We get out there, them bees are active. They not
Yo, hey, by the way, that's a pretty good movie, The Beekeeper with Jason Statham, bro.
Oh, okay. I saw it just came out. Is it good?
Yeah, it's been out for a minute, but it's pretty good. If you like dudes getting beat up, definitely go check it out. The Beekeeper. I'm going to see the new version of Planet of the Apes today, love.
Yeah, it's got to. That's on the docket.
Check it out.
I heard it was the best movie this year.
I saw it got a grade of like a B+. So I'm like, okay. I want to see how they developed it. I do. I'm looking forward to it. Everybody else, man, have a great Tuesday. We'll see you back tomorrow for another edition of the Lucky Lefty podcast. For myself, Shaun Davis, the original Lucky MALIK ZAIRE. Have a great Tuesday. But most of all, make sure that you continue to spin it different, man.
Different.
Appreciate you guys. Lock in. We'll see you tomorrow.